I'd like to introduce our master gunsmith who makes most of our black powder weapons, who's going to go over some of the issues that people have been having with their black powder weapons. So, take it
Good
over,
afternoon.
Mad Mac.
My name's Mad Mike. First thing I would like to cover. This gun is loaded. Treat it as such until you verify it is not. When you do that, take a ramrod, put it down the barrel until you hear a nice firm click, then pull the ramrod out, marking it with your finger, and make sure that that lines up with your touch hole, just like that. And that tells you there's nothing in there. Now it's safe to handle. So, the next thing we're going to discuss is how to properly check the half cock on a gun. Okay. This is your half cock. You should hear a audible click when you move it to a half cock. Next, you'll balance the gun on its trigger. It should support the weight of the gun without the half cock going forward. If it does, you have a problem. At that point, you would bring it to full cock to make sure it catches firmly. Close your pan and check your spark. As you can see, you have adequate spark there. This gun, as far as the lock is concerned, is safe to fire. Do a general overall look of the gun, make sure the stock is intact, make sure there are no cracks, no problems, and make sure the barrel is firmly seated, all pins are in place. You want to check that every time before you shoot the gun. Now, let's go over common problems we've been having. My gun isn't shooting. The lock is sticky. It doesn't want to work right. It's not sparking. Well, here's how you check. Remove the screws. Take the lock out. Now, I can see right now why this is having trouble. If you look at this lock, you see that's dirty. This badly needs to be cleaned. This lock is not going to be reliable for any length of time while you're shooting it. So the best way to clean this lock, go ahead and get a bucket of hot soapy water. Use ordinary dish soap. This is the best grease cutter in the world. Once you've got your bucket of hot soapy water, put your lock in it. Let it sit there. Now, stands to reason if the lock is dirty, so is the gun. As you can see, if you look in here, that's filthy. We need to clean this. How do we clean this? First, put your thumb over the touch hole. Put the muzzle up. Take about a cupful of your hot soapy water, pour it down the barrel until you've got your barrel full. Let it sit there for a moment. Plug it with your finger like this. Shake it back and forth. You want to loosen up some of that fouling. Now that you've done that, pour the water back into the bucket. If you don't do that, you're going to make a big mess. Next, take a cleaning brush like this. Put it down your barrel. Just like so. And then pull it out, just like so. Once you've done that, again, take a cup of hot soapy water, pour it down your barrel, shake it, pour it out. You'll see this is dark. Repeat that until the water comes out clean. Now that you've done that, you'll take this. You'll soak it in oil, like Rem oil or something similar. Put it on your cleaning rod and oil your bore. Once you've done that, take a cloth, oil it, oil your barrel on the outside to prevent rust. Once that's accomplished, now it's time to put your lock back in. Clean it with a toothbrush. Clean that entire area, dunk it, soak it, clean it, dry it off thoroughly, and again oil it. Put your lock back in. Make sure it goes in smoothly without a great deal of resistance. If there's something in the way, you should stop and figure out what it is. Don't force it. You'll break something. And that's never a good thing. Gunsmiths are expensive. Take your screws, put them back in. Again, do not force anything. We'll tighten up this screw onto the belt hook first, because with this screw out of the way, you can move your belt hook. Then you'll put this in. Here's a cautionary note. Do not over tighten these screws. Doing so can damage your stock and prevent your lock from working. This is extremely important. This is the most common reason we get guns back not working. The lock is so tight, it takes a great deal of effort to get these screws loose, and in some cases the stock has been cracked. Just tighten them firmly. You don't need to put a lot of work into it. Once you've finished that, again, bring it to half cock, check your half cock, make sure that it's still working, and then bring it to full cock, close your frizzen, and check your spark. Now, go ahead and run some linseed oil or something similar over your stock, just to make sure the wood does not dry out. Now put your gun away. It should be serviceable the next time you need it. But remember, always check your gun before use. Never assume. That covers my main point. Always make sure you clean your gun after every use. Don't ever make an exception to that. Because if you don't, that's where your problems start. And I thank you for your attention.
All right, thank you, Matt, Mike. That was a wonderful segment about province with black powder weapons. So now